Hi there, it's Chris from LeadGen, and I'm joined here with my friend Miguel. We're both in the office here, and we just had this idea of putting together a video with the top lead generation tactics for software companies using both inbound marketing and outbound marketing. And outbound is especially an area Miguel is really a pro in. So we thought this would be really exciting to put this together. So we're gonna show you the best lead generation tactics for software companies, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's get going. The first lead generation tactic is software discovery platforms. It's something that Miguel told me a lot about. Maybe just explain what are software discovery platforms?
Yeah, I mean, a good example would be if you are home right now and you type right now like the best accounting software, chances are that a software discovery platform is going to come up first. So the top three that would always come first is either Capterra, Crossdesk, or G2 Crowd. And then obviously when you click in it, it shows you like the top, top 10 like software listings, and these are great lead generation, solutions out there for software companies. Now, for the most important thing is that you're actually in like full production, that you do have end users, a good pricing system, that you're not in beta, unfortunately. But once you're there, you should definitely list on one of these software discovery platforms and make sure that you fit like multiple categories.
Is there like some best platforms that you would recommend?
The top three, like I said, would be. I mean, there are many others out there, but they don't have a high domain authority. So I would focus really on, like I said, Crossdesk, G2 Crowd, or Capterra. Those are the most important ones. But I think what people misunderstand, they think like, okay, well, we're listed there, but we're not getting, deals. But the fact is, if you're single, for example, you want to be in a single bar, where there are lots of other singles, so you get, some leads and hopefully a conversion as well. But my point is, it's like with software as well. If you're an accounting software, you want to be on a place where there are a lot of people looking for accounting software. So software discovery platforms are very important, and even today, they even pay your end users to leave you a review. On the topic of outreach, this is why it's very interesting working with you in the same office, because I think for a lot of our people, our audience over here don't know, is that we both work in a co-working space. We are both in similar industries, but we cover two different aspects, and it's very funny because outreach is a very important aspect, especially to get like quick demand generation. And you could have the best outreach, but if you don't have as good of like a outstanding outreach platform of inbound, it's pointless.
Exactly.
So I could spend thousands of dollars if I had to reach everyone across the globe. But if I have a platform that doesn't collect leads, doesn't have exit intents, doesn't have like behavioral, like tools that understand like, people's behavior and where to like, to push, like custom like chatbots, for example, it's pointless. So this is very interesting to work with you, that you understand about like where to add the best call to action, where to have like much more engaging forms and not flustering people and specific landing pages. And I think it's very interesting that you cover that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can share like our main channel for lead capture or lead generation is SEO. So it's just organic traffic to our website. We spend about a year and a half to build it up. There was always some movement. I think that's how SEO works, right? So you're gonna get content out and you're gonna see some effects, some clicks, but then it takes a little while. It's just what it is, unfortunately what it is. And then just recently, I think this May, which is now half a year ago, we have really seen some sort of jump up in the search rankings. And since then, it's been continuous growth, really on a good level now, that we get like really dozens of clicks a day, thousands of visits a month, just organically. And it's our number one channel. So it's our number one channel to build up free users to the platform, to then also capture leads from the blog, from lead magnets in the blog, like for example downloadable resources we provide. So it works extremely well. It's just a commitment, it's a focus thing, and then it's just an amazing channel. We don't have to now pay for traffic. It's the traffic is there, it's for relevant keywords. One challenge though is you can't make it as targeted as PPC campaigns, or maybe not even as outreach. Just let's compare those three. If you look at SEO, you can get clicks from relevant keywords, but then when you have this many relevant keywords, you have this many which are just somewhat related. So you get a lot of clicks which generate interest but don't convert. So that's why SEO is like, you need that volume to make it work. So
build an authority.
Yes. So in that sense, obviously, outreach also is a volume game. I learned
all volumes.
Yeah. Yes. So I think in that sense maybe they're similar. And then PPC campaigns is just very targeted. Spend a bit of money, target the right type of audience, you're going to get the leads. So, but staying with the, let's say, outreach, what type of outreach do you do? Like what platforms, what mediums?
I mean, for us, like especially for Heirizon, email outreach is key. Obviously, since COVID's happened, there are a few changes. Like you'll get a lot of out of offices. Unfortunately, we've been using other mediums as well. LinkedIn, like syndication networks have been really good. But actually it's interesting that you talk about that you have very specific keywords for very specific, I think the danger is that many people think we just need one outreach. So for example, say I was an accounting software, for example, right? And I did a general blast to everyone saying, hey, use my accounting software. It's not very niche. You're just blasting it out to everyone. And, outreach should always be data driven. So you'd probably say, okay, out of my 10,000 leads, I get 1,000 responses and I convert, 200 of those. But where you can really, really be data driven is doing individual outreach and building on specific forms. So for example, I'm an accounting software and I've built a solution that works really well for the restaurant industry. And then creating a landing form specifically for a one page, that actually you can track, where like the lead came from. So, hey, I'm an accounting software. I have like a chef on the top saying, or, a restaurant owner, yeah, we do use this accounting software. It's quick. It has call to actions, the testimony that we're in Crossdesk, Aptera, G2 Crowd, and we have lots of ratings. I think that's very important as well.
Exactly.
If you're really going to segregate it.
Exactly. It's a great point. I think the personalization makes a big difference in email. What industry, what type of niche within the industry, and then giving them the right page you're sending them to, but ideally also in the email content. So you can obviously do these days a lot of personalization that goes beyond, let's say, name, company name. You can add other things in it. We use an email outreach tool called Lemlist, where we can customize images, where we can customize, GIF images certainly you can also use in there, as I think. Obviously it depends whether that fits to your audience, your industry, but I'm just saying there's so much opportunities these days to customize, to personalize.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're dealing with mass volume in leads, you can definitely, if you have skill sets with Excel, it makes it incredibly easy for you to add many different fields. So like, hi, first name, I understand you're in, hashtag, like in the brackets industry, and it will import from your spreadsheet, you're in the restaurant industry. So, it's just like, hi, Billy, I understand you're in the finance industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have skill sets in Excel, being able to do VLOOKUPs, pivot tables, you can make it very customized.
So would you say outreach is your biggest channel to get leads?
Oh yeah, for quick leads, and you can obviously understand and read the metrics. But on the long-term game, it costs money definitely to do outreach and verification for emails, the tools you use adds up. But in the long run, you want to build an authority. So, taking your advice, and this is one of the best things about working over here. I was very heavy about doing outreach to build, users to come to my website and my platform. But now that I've talked to you, I've like rebuilt part of the back end, so it's SEO optimized. You told me to get an Ahrefs, and my score was even worse than my credit score, and that says a lot, you know. So I like So then of course we restructured it. We changed the code so it's more SEO friendly. You know, this definitely was a learning game for me. Is that I am very good at outreach, but listening to you about inbound, it's a big deal. But I think, you know, retargeting and revisiting people, I think is incredibly important. You know, like you can do PPC retargeting, you can look at the data of like the open rates. So I would see like, oh well, this guy's read my email like 14 times, which is either creepy or a guy really is excited about my offer for 50% off for like the year if he pays, you know.
Yes.
So I think that's the right candidate, and you'd move him into, you know, another campaign saying, you know, this is, you know, put him on a list to say like every quarter, you know, or year end. Send it out.
It's very good. I mean, retargeting, I would make it also like a bit broader. Like I'd call it like some sort of engagement based marketing and sales. Retargeting is basically just on engagement, on someone looking at your site, looking at your emails, clicking on something. You target them more and follow up. What we also do is similar things for those users that log in most into our app. So we have some sort of tool where we see who actually uses our software, who looks at what pages. We can follow up with them more. Or we can say, oh, this person has built 1 form, 2 forms. Let's give them some sort of special offer. So this whole area of, I'd call it engagement-based sales, to find a simple term to explain it. We do on many different levels. So that's one example of just like how users use the app, how they engage with social posts probably also. We do that whole side of things. And I mean, staying in the area of retargeting that you mentioned, what platforms would you use for retargeting?
There are quite a few. I mean, it really depends on your budget. I mean, it would never be big because the people that actually do come to your website, you'd only be retargeting them. So even if you did PPC campaigns, or if you manually did it in email outreach, it would always be cheap because you're only targeting people that have actually had interest in reading about your platform. To buy my software, we get a lead. Sometimes we talk. Sometimes it doesn't work, but the point is that there is intent, and then I can, you know, put them in future campaigns knowing this is their potential price that they could afford.
What I see a lot is like companies, business owners with websites and with blogs that think that's all they have to do, send traffic to those pages, to those posts, and then a conversion will happen all of a sudden. But how do conversions happen? Only if you give people an offer. It's like offers create demand. But if the offer is missing, if you maybe have a contact page somewhere hidden on the website or even in the menu, it's not obvious enough for them to find that. And even with SaaS companies, a lot of SaaS companies have good websites because that's just the only way to sustain this market. As you know, like if you are obviously an advisor to some companies in that field, you can only, as you probably know, like all these websites are probably done. Like that's why SaaS works, because the website is all we have. Landing pages is all we have to convince people in a way. But even with that, even with like a great looking landing page, what is happening is that these companies are missing out on leads that they could get from their content, especially from the blog. So let's say you have, even if you just have 5 or 10 blog posts, then what's going to happen? People are going to read it, half of it, or you know, the whole page. But then what's the next action? Are they going to be ready to sign up for your tool? I mean, 95% probably definitely not, or 99.9% probably not. So what we always do is add lead magnets into those blogs using lead capture forms that obviously you can build with our LeadGen app form builder as well. So we use them ourselves. We always recommend it to our users because that's just the best way to capture traffic that is right there. So why would you waste that traffic? That's my point. Every blog post, in my opinion, should have a lead magnet. 1 or maybe even 2 if it fits.
Really interesting, kind of as a case study. They're called Yalantis. They're a software development company out of Ukraine, I believe. And they have like a high domain authority because they write content. Like anytime, remember Robinhood, the app? It's like I believe like a trading finance platform. Now they do like cryptocurrency. Right. But basically, anytime, or like when Uber came out, they'd write a blogs how to rebuild Uber in an app, and then when you type in Google, that blog came first, or how to build Robinhood, or how to build Heirizon, or how to rebuild LeadGen App, right? So, and then they had like, there was obviously a blog that came because they started getting like a high domain authority, started getting a lot of traffic. It's what people actually were searching for, like, hey, I want to redo Uber, but instead of like, like drivers, this is like, it's like only air hostesses can do it, for example. Like it's specifically for air hostesses, and it only serves this. And everyone had it at one point, like, this is like an Uber business model, you know? And it was just incredible how they did it. And then you read their page, and then they would have like hey, why don't you give us a call and we could tell you how to do it, and then obviously like, hey, what's your budget?
That's good.
I thought it was genius about how they got like leads, and now, I mean, they're quite a successful development company that way.
That's
they
great.
Built tons of MVPs.
That's pretty good. So in that case, the content was already so enticing enough that they don't even have to place a specific offer.
Well, no, they don't have to spend any offer, but the call to actions, like you've already engaged, have taught you.
Because the content was so good.
The content was so good, but then it makes you think like, oh my God, like these are the people that are going to build my Uber business model that will only serve, like Europeans.
Yes. Another thing is similar to this blog post where you compare yourself to other tools that are similar to what you do. So that's another tactic that I see some brands are doing. For example, HubSpot does a page, HubSpot versus ActiveCampaign. Right? So that's another thing. If that has search volume, it might be worth doing this, because then you can capture that traffic that is super highly targeted and is almost ready to buy. What do you think of this tactic?
I think it's actually, this is how I've discovered reply.io. So I was Googling persist because I forgot like the actual URL. Funnily enough, it's pretty simple, but I forgot the URL, and then it came persist versus reply.io. Clicked it. I was like, oh, here we go. I went in the trial. And then they hooked me in because they were able to allow SMTP, email deliverability, which is very important for us. But yeah, I mean, I think that's great. In my case, because I'm competing against Indeed, Monster, every page is pretty much the same. We're like a fraction of the price. But that's a good idea. Maybe I should look at that. Indeed versus Heirizon. Well, with Heirizon, I'll be your customer service agent. I mean, now Indeed, probably got some guy.
Now people are intrigued, so you better create that content piece. So then maybe let's summarize those platforms again, right?
Software discovery platforms, if you're not in beta, you should definitely look at the top ones, which are Capterra, G2 Crowd, CrossDesk. If you have the budget as well, ask I know like CrossDesk, for example, and just to let you know, I'm very biased for them. But they do also offer lead generation solutions as well. So people would say, hey, I'm looking for software. People do contact these software discovery platforms, and then they can put you in touch. So for example, just ask about those. Outreach, make sure that you understand, the ability to do outreach in a data-driven behavior. So you understand that this is specifically for chefs or restaurant owners. You can measure that data. Don't just do a all universal one, With inbound, which is just as important, I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Inbound, yes, is the way forward for building a brand for long term, to really build up your domain authority, get consistent traffic coming in. Best way is through search engines, SEO, creating content consistently. That's really the key to it. Like, not just to start it, but also to keep following through with it over a period of at least a year, I would now say. I used to say at least 6 months, but to really make it work, we have seen that. Let's definitely plan in more time. Then make sure to place offers in your blog posts that are related to that kind of provide the next step, the next logical step for the user to take, because they're already on your site, they're already in the door, and they are generally curious to get to see what else you can offer them. So that could be a free offer, it could be a trial or a paid offer. And with software tools, usually it's a free trial, 14-day, 30-day free trial. But still don't hesitate to also place those other offers as well, because they're often related in content terms to what your blog is about. What's really cool is what you can also build with our lead gen forms is some sort of interactive tools. So you can not only build forms, you can build multi-step forms that give out a certain result. For example, an ROI calculator for finance firms, or a nutrition calculator for personal trainers. For you, in your example, a form that calculates how much my CV is worth, right? So for applicants that are looking for jobs that want to find out how much they can do in the job market, and just giving a nice indication, like an assessment of their CV. So there's all those creative things you can do that you can provide for free, even without lead capture, just to drive more engagement on the site, or with lead capture to bring more leads in using those tools. Then just look at engagement-driven marketing, as in know who's logging into your app, follow up with them in a different way, have different campaigns for free and pro users, different email sequences, marketing automation in place. And I think if you do all these things combined, outbound and inbound, that's a pretty good way to grow.
And also, just to tie it up, really have a look at tools that that understand end users' behavior. So chatbots, exit intent forms. For example, your form as well, is very, very well. It's not just like fill a name. It gives you an entire guide of what are you exactly trying to get to, and then take out all the unnecessary fields. I think that's quite interesting as well.
Yeah, and also like data-driven approach, what you said, like you can also A/B test forms on its own, which is super useful, not just to test the pages against each other, but also the form tool, for example. Something we also provide. So these are all the tactics. In summary: software discovery, platforms, outreach, inbound marketing, retargeting, and chatbots. Cool to chat.
Hey, anytime, man. We'll see you in the office.
See you soon, guys.